Gwyn Winfield is a chemical weapons analyst, and he joins me now live with more for his take on this report. Gwyn Winfield, thanks for being with us. Did you have a look? Were you able to check out this UN report? I know it's more than 40 pages, but have you been able to glance at it?
Yes, I have been through it. It seems very thorough, and it's certainly what you'd expect from Aki Sellström and his team. And their sort of findings really corroborate what a lot of us have already surmised. So I think in terms of the chemicals used and the delivery system, how the chemicals got to the site, it is indeed a very thorough report.
Now, what do you make of it? Surface-to-surface rockets, some of the warheads capable of containing up to 50 liters of some of that material. They're saying they have clear and convincing evidence that these surface-to-surface rockets were used. They show pictures with Cyrillic writing. They provide dimensions and other details. What did you make of that?
Well, there's been a lot of sort of conjecture, certainly in terms of Washington and other places previously, about sort of ex-Soviet or Russian involvement within the Syrian chemical weapons program. So the Cyrillic writing is likely to play quite strongly to that. In terms of the munition, there's been a number of sort of good pieces by the blogger Brown Moses on the sort of type of munition used. And it's not one that is typical to a lot of the other sort of previous possessors of chemical weapons. This does seem to be a particularly Syrian design. And in terms of the quantities, again, it's difficult to say because we'd need to be able to get confirmed fatality figures from a variety of different agencies. But it seems to be the right sort of amount for the right amount of fatalities.
What kind of expertise is required to, mount chemical weapons in a warhead like that? Do you really have to know what you're doing?
Well, they will have a specialized facility to be able to do this. The last thing that you want to be doing is doing this for the first time. And neither do you want to be doing it in an area where there's any danger. So that the facilities themselves for this will be specialized facilities for this. Again, I mean, in terms of both sort of US and sort of Russian legacy munitions, it tends to be rockets and warheads, albeit of a different design for the ones that we've seen there. And again, what we've seen is a binary, or what we've had suggested is a binary munition, which will then sort of mix in flight. And that's a very difficult thing to be able to do. And it may well be because of the complexity involved in mixing these chemicals that this is the reason why there's been this sort of specialist Syrian design.
What is a special? What do you mean? I was going to ask you about that. What do you mean by specialist Syrian design?
Well, the type of sort of warhead we've seen with the very fat head is not typical to either sort of Soviet or sort of old US sort of stocks. So if you look at, for example, the old M55 US chemical rocket, they're a very conventional rocket type shape. So when we first saw the images come out from Syria of this, there was a sort of a number of question marks over what this can have been. And thanks to a sort of a range of sources on the internet, they managed to piece together what it would have looked like beforehand. And again, it seems a very unique sort of type of munition. So the reason has to be is why do they have such a different shape to the ones that we usually see in terms of traditional designs? And if they are using sort of a binary fill, so they're using two different agents, then actually getting a mix of those two chemicals so that it's at its most efficacious when it's released is actually very complex. And certainly the US spent many millions of dollars trying to get this right. So without that type of testing and evaluation system.
Yeah, but are you saying this is possibly a modified sort of warhead, modified to accommodate this type of chemical weapons attack?
Yes, I think so. I mean, they will have used parts of they will need to have some form of homogeneity with the delivery system. So it's unlikely that they will have a specialist system just for launching this. They will have to have some degree of commonality within it. So to be able to get as many common parts within the rocket as they can.